Hello everyone, Roomfiller here, and I'm going to be showcasing my work-in-progress Big Brother Interactions mod. Basically, what this mod does is it adds a bunch of context-specific interactions for your Sims to use that helps you to better understand the game, but it's not necessarily a replacement from making your own story or inferring your own story, however you want to do it. If I go ahead and click on Alice here, go to More Options, go to Friendly, there's a new category, which is called Strategy, and this is where you're going to find most of the new interactions in this mod. If I go ahead and open this, you can see we have a bunch of different interactions here. Talk game, share information, ask about vote, convince to vote for, and these two, Propose Alliance and Propose Deal, are the special interactions, and we'll get into them in a little bit. But to quickly talk about a lot of these, I said they were basic interactions. That's really all they are. They don't have any special functionality. You basically just see them pop up in their feed. So let's say Alice and Mateo are talking to each other and you see share information pop up. They're going to go ahead and whisper to each other.
Wow. Insta.
Bro, loose.
And then you can see there it's just a basic interaction. Nothing special happens. That's basically for you to infer, like, what could they be talking about. It could be whatever you want it to be. But the important thing is that they made an effort to share the information with each other. They made an effort to be strategic, which is a lot different from just trying to guess what happens as you would without this mod. So the special interactions, Propose Deal and Propose Alliance. We'll start with Propose Deal first. This is basically something like a safety deal or a vote deal. Something that could be like a mini alliance, but not really there. It could be like a final two. Maybe if they're already in an alliance, they could form a final two with each other, or they could have a final two from the get-go. It's, once again, whatever you want it to be. It's just about the Sims themselves making the effort to make these strategic moves. So let's go ahead and use Proposed Deal.
Banu Smith Beninch Nifta Yemph. Zaborn.
So you see, something did actually happen this time. Up here in the top right, we have a notification. It says Deal Proposal. Alright, let's make a deal. This will happen when a deal proposal succeeds, and since it's like a major thing, it will let you know in the top right. You don't have to be paying attention to the interaction to know that it happens. If it fails, it will say something like, no, I don't want to make a deal with you. If you look down here, they now have a buff that says Deal Struck. The Sim recently made a deal. They won't attempt to make any more for a little while. This is basically to stop you from constantly getting spammed with this notification about a deal, and so they don't constantly try to make the same deal with each other multiple times. You'll see now if I click on Mateo here, go to Strategy, you'll see that Proposed Deal is not an option. If I go ahead and remove these buffs, go to Strategy, now it's back. So there's no restriction on Proposed Deal. They can do it at any relationship. As for the more important interaction, the Propose Alliance interaction, this is only available when they have a friendship value of 20 or higher. 20 at the time of recording this anyway. So if I go ahead and I'm using UI cheats, by the way. If I right-click on Mateo here, you can see they're at a relationship of 32. That is plenty enough for them to be able to form an alliance with each other. So if I go ahead and do this, it works very similarly to the Proposed Deal, but there is a special feature to it.
Parsakong.
Nee.
Sisorba.
Harp too.
So you'll see the same thing happened up here. Alliance proposal, yes, let's form an alliance. It'll say, if it fails again, it'll say, like, no, I don't want to form an alliance with you, or something like that. And now they have the same moodlet down here, alliance formation. It's shorter because we want the Sims to be forming alliances with each other. That's like the main part of the game. But if I go ahead and shift-click on Alice here, go to More Choices, you'll see now they officially have the ally status with each other, which will prevent them from doing the alliance proposal interaction again. So if I go ahead and remove both these moodlets, you'll see the action is still not there because they are already allies. The game will remember that these two are allies, and they won't try to do it again. But if I shift-click and manually remove the status, you'll see the proposed alliance interaction is there again. I would recommend anyone who's actively in the conversation, if an alliance proposal succeeds, I would add all of them to the alliance, which you will have to do manually by shift-clicking, going into set as allies, because unfortunately I could not get the game to do that properly. Now if they are at -15 relationship and allies, they now have the option to break alliance on their own. So that's the basic interactions out of the way. Now we're going to get into the context-specific interactions. Basically, what this mod allows you to do is set a sim as the head of household, veto holder, etc. So how to do that, you're going to click on your selected sim, aka the sim with the plumb bob above their head. Go to more choices, and you can see set as veto holder, set as nominee, set as head of household. I'm going to go ahead and set him as head of household. And you'll see he now gets a confident buff of +1, saying that he's the head of household. This lasts indefinitely until you remove it. The reason you want to do this is because it gives them specific new interactions that they can perform. So for example, Alice has no special status. So if I click on her, go back to strategy, you'll now see there's a few more interactions here. We have assure safety. So he'd basically be telling her you're not going to be nominated. Gather house opinions, as if he was trying to make a nomination decision for the house and was trying to understand what everybody wants. So if I go ahead and make her a nominee, oops, you can see she does get an angry buff, but it does not have a +1 next to it. All the angry buff does is basically make it red. This does not actually affect her mood at all, so she won't constantly be angry while she's a nominee. It's just so you can easily tell who is set as a nominee and who isn't. And you'll see Alice has now become tense, and that's because of this moodlet here. They nominated me. Any nominee that is like in the vicinity of the HOH is going to be stressed out and annoyed because they're not very happy about being nominated. So there isn't really many special interactions between these two. They kind of severed their game connection from being nominated, but if I go to Mark here, who does not have any special status, you can see now there's a few more options. We have campaign for votes. If I go ahead and set Mortimer here as the veto holder, you'll see he gets a confident moodlet, and now Alice, as a nominee, can do things such as beg to use veto, convince to use veto. Mark can do that as well. Basically, as long as a sim is the veto holder, they can be convinced to use veto, they can be convinced not to use veto. Once again, as a reminder, these interactions don't have any special functionality to them, at least not yet. If this interaction appears autonomously, you now know Mark is trying to get Mortimer not to use the veto. You don't have to guess what he's trying to do anymore. You know exactly what he's trying to do. And that's basically the entire point of this mod. It just allows you to know better what the Sims are trying to do. It's going to make their strategic game a lot more interesting, especially the proposed alliance. I'm not at all an experienced modder at this game. This is my first ever mod. It's just an idea I thought would be cool, and so far it's been cool. I have already had a major vote flip happen because of this mod. It just makes it more dynamic all around, and that's basically what I aim to do, and I think it does that quite well. You can find the updated download link in the description. Like I said, I don't know if I will end up making it super in-depth. This could be the final version of this mod, I don't know. I plan to make it more interesting if I can, but I'm going to have to do most of it manually, because I was using a mod constructor for this. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy this mod. Let me know if you have any suggestions or run into any bugs. And, have fun.